Oh my God. I hope.
Are they coming back after school again?
They said they were.
I know, we have yeah, what are the next and then I change the how you
They're not trying to get into it.
way to go. What?
What song was that?
It's called
Can I make a big room?
Yes. Yes, actually. I said that to my friend. Really? Yeah. Yes, that is good all.
Okay, so you know Hey Bear, we need to
I'm sorry, disappoint. Joe Bacon's pretty cool to see. He watched us at this show. Not too much of it.
Oh, you're done.
What you guys do?
It's so hot. Yeah, I know. I had to.
Oh my God. We need to get Cam to do that.
I And you like your most like.
Heck yeah. I'm gonna send you.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I am. You sent me some great videos. I that was a good drawing. What's that one? Maggie, do you need help?
Up there.
You go start with the wire.
Oh my God.
All right, once we're done, take a seat.
Go to your door.
Put your mobile devices away. My dad always says that. You can call my mobile. Yeah, Dad, you don't have a home line, so what else am I going to call? You're there. You're behind us so that I can see them.
I should go.
All right. Here's what we decided today. Next week, we're going to do a performance task.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be very similar to it's a combination of Bruno and the Stars one.
Oh.
But in terms of, you're gonna be able to use your notes, okay? The theme with this is, so here's what you're gonna do. We're gonna talk about probably the most famous object in the solar system that we did not include with this. What is it? Oh, the sun, yeah, good call. The second most popular one that's not included on this. Pluto. Wait, really? Yeah, Pluto. Okay. In 2006, I think you guys were what, 3?
Yep.
Okay. They said, oh, sorry, Pluto, you're not a planet anymore. And we're going to look into, should it be a planet?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to look, so you're actually going to use some of this stuff. All right, you're going to use this. You're going to do a little bit more research on specifically what are the criteria for Pluto being a planet or not. And then you're going to make a decision. Hey, based on the evidence that I found, I think it should be a planet, or I think that it should be a dwarf planet. You're going to write claim, evidence, reasoning, boom. You're all going to get great grades, and then it's going to be great. Okay? Oh, we got a little breeze happening.
I know. I was.
It's supposed to snow tomorrow. I am 100% a fair weather fan. Do you know what that is?
Like fairies.
If it's, no, not fairies. If it's not nice out, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. So, like, I have season tickets to Iowa football games, and not going. I'm not emotionally, mentally, or physically prepared to be in that kind of weather, and so instead I said, hey, you can go in my place, but just give me money, and so it worked. I don't know, I just sold
I think it was
some
snowing
random
because I had a doctor's appointment. And like, Willow's like, is that snow? And I'm like,
person. That is a great story, Sarah.
so I think it was snowing.
Thank
But
you
it
for
was just
sharing that
little
with us.
snowflakes.
All right, so here's the deal. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through each of the groups and make sure that you have some of the correct criteria. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly, assuming that you already have this information down. I'm going to give you a couple of random pieces of information. We'll have some discussions. We'll do a little bit of review of seeing how much you understand about the individual things. The point is not to know all of the facts about all this stuff. I just can't tell you how much I don't care about that. Okay? I don't want you to make flashcards about, I need to know how long the orbit is for all these objects. No. Okay? You need to be able to say, this planet is close. I think this is probably what the orbit will generally be like. This thing is far away. This is what the temperature might be like. This is this kind of planet. I think I know what the makeup is like. We're looking for patterns, not specifics. Okay? Yeah? I know, sorry. I got made it so well. I know. All right, so. Everybody's gonna look up here. So we can switch our seats, that's totally okay. 4 inner planets, all right? 4 inner planets, we've got a pretty short orbit, okay? Mercury, so a year on Mercury takes 88 days. That's how long it takes Mercury, so in 88 days it'll probably be in the spot that it is right now. It takes us 365, except for when? Leap years, yeah. Did you know that my grandparents were, you should know this. My grandparents were married on leap year, like on February 29th. So they've only been married for like, why would you want that?
So they can only have a birthday every 4 years.
Well, they have a birthday every year, but their anniversary is all messed up. Yeah. So they've only been married for like, I don't know. I could see that.
Well,
But
if it was on a leap year, wouldn't March 1st technically be that day?
if it wasn't a leap year,
I mean, if it was,
Then it would be.
I mean, even if
Maybe.
it was on a leap year.
all right, so the makeup of these, listen, I know that we've got a lot of, over there was a lot of stuff listed in terms of the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. The first 4 planets are rocky. We can stand on them. We're considered the 3rd rock from the sun. These are rocky planets. And we know a ton about them, all right? Who's seen the movie The Martian? It's an awesome movie.
Which one?
The more recent one with Matt Damon.
Well, they're both good.
Matt Damon is
The first one's under.
an attractive human.
Yeah.
Right? So that's part of the reason why I enjoy watching it. But it's a really, really awesome movie. It's also a book, but out of pure laziness, if you had the choice, watch the movie. I would love to find some clips of it. We're not going to watch it. It's a pretty long movie. I would love to watch that, and I would love to watch Interstellar. But I might move some movie. So it's super long.
I
We
saw it
watched
with my
it.
dad.
So during physics, we finished. So AP classes have to like all end on the same day, and you take the AP test, but then there's still school. So Regina had a 3D printer, or sorry, we did have a 3D printer. We also had a 3D projector, and so we brought the 3D glasses in, and for like a week in physics, all we did was like we moved the tables, laid down on the carpet, and then we just watched the.
I never.
We do need to do that here.
I can never finish the movie.
Because it's too long. You gotta span it into some other stuff. But The Martian is all about us going to Mars. We've sent rovers there, not like Red Rover, but we've sent like machines there. We've done some flybys of some of the other ones, but we know a lot of stuff about some of these planets because of what NASA has done. Group 2, the asteroid belt in Ceres. Ceres is the largest object in the asteroid belt. It takes a little bit longer to orbit. They're still rocky. Obviously, asteroids are not planets. We can't really inhabit them, any of that kind of stuff. But there's a mission that's there right now. So the Dawn mission is, I think it's actually orbiting Ceres, and it's going to spend another year there. So it's sending us some information about that. Asteroid belt obviously has a lot of objects in it, but the bigger ones are considered dwarf planets. The outer planets, go ahead and laugh. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Second hour boys just couldn't contain themselves. There's nothing that brings out like the 8-year-old in freshman and high school like saying Uranus.
Yeah.
Funny though. Why would you say it?
Alright. I think it's because by the end of the night. Oh, there's a gas jar in it. Oh, it's very funny.
Yeah, I
It's actually pronounced Uranus, by the way.
You're
Also funny. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, you're
That's like-
So listen, these are considered the gas giants. They're not structurally like the rocky ones. We can't really go, and obviously they have a core, but we can't really go to the surface of it. It's made of a bunch of gas. It takes a really long time for, especially Neptune. Neptune takes 165 Earth years to orbit. So if we lived on Neptune and we had our like normal lifespans, we would die before we're 1. We would die before we're like 6 months. Okay?
What?
Because it takes
A lot of dead
165
Because
of
they're
Earth
that
years
long.
for Neptune to orbit. Okay? Why does that happen?
Farther away.
It's supposed to be
I-
so.
It's farther
Honestly,
away.
no, honestly, in college I said, I'm gonna die before I'm 30. And I turned 30 in like 5 months. So at this point, I'm like, I'm not gonna make it to the end of the school year. I'm gonna do it to like 31, maybe. I don't know, maybe. I don't wanna get old. It's so weird. Like, I don't wanna not be able to do things or forget things. My grandma had dementia, and I was like, I don't want this. It takes them so long to get up and down. That's super thick, the weird smell. Other people have a weird smell.
Yeah, that's true.
Me too. Like,
But baby goats.
yeah, they do. But like Sister Agnes, there's parking spots and then there's garages.
Yeah, well, I
Sister
have
Agnes has a
lived,
garage.
I
For the
took
last
lived
2
over
days,
2
the
or
car
7
was
years
in a
around my
parking
grandma.
spot, and I
grandma's
legitimately
house.
afraid that she is in her apartment dead. It's because
She's really old.
she's so old.
Sister Agnes.
She's my neighbor. She's in
You're
the
the one that's really loud about it.
She's in-
No, I don't know who that is,
Oh my
but
God.
seriously, I heard of elephants last night.
Oh my god.
Wait, what happened last night? But I wasn't there last night. I guess
Maybe you should go find who makes those.
I think you should go find Ben.
Get about it.
Actually,
Maybe it was all those stray cats running around.
There's a couple stray cats.
And then go.
At least in my neighborhood.
No, but we walk in the
Hills
same
area,
area.
there's like a bunch of stray cats. A bunch of reports of stray cats.
So
Right-handed
we
people.
know a lot more about
Armed
these
with
two
knives.
because they're closer to us.
No, last harvest was.
These two, we have sent flyby missions, but we haven't, discovered as much as we have about some of these ones. Who's ever watched, like a 400-meter race or had to run once around it?
I won one back before I started.
Hey, only way I can win one is if
I've
somebody else is
won the
running and
team.
I don't like driving.
Before I've been in a prison.
That's
I was in
about it.
prison
Oh,
where my
right,
parents
yes.
sent me something when they were disobeying laws.
I'm flying around, maybe.
Basically, I didn't get
So,
I wasn't good, and so I didn't run.
I can get several inches on everybody. Oh.
I did
So, 165 years compared to 12, all right? And I know that this isn't the same thing, but if you line people up for the 400, there's a reason that they don't line up like in a line. If you watch an actual 400 in track, they stagger them, right? So like the person who's on the inside will start at the regular 400 line. The next person will go ahead 6 or 7, I don't know exactly what it is. Why do they stagger them? Because if they were lined up, the person who's on the outside would what? They would run there's more distance for them to cover. Now in a 400, it's not dramatic. It may be like, I mean, it would be enough to win or lose the race if they were the same speed. It's maybe 15, 20 meters, right? But if we're talking about millions of miles, that adds a lot of time. Okay, so the objects that are farther away usually take longer to orbit because they're covering more space, actually. Dwarf planets in the Kuiper Belt. These are just a couple of the dwarf planets. Obviously, we're getting farther away, so our orbit times are going up. They're very, very icy. Why are they very icy? They're farther away, so it's colder, right? That's part of the reason that even if we're constantly looking for water, right? We think that the thing about like Titan, which is Saturn's moon, that's so interesting is that they think that there's water underneath the surface. Why would that be such a big deal to find? Right? We could use that for stuff. Right? We could plant things. We could use it to hopefully turn it into some drinking water. There's so many things that could come from finding water. It's so hard to do that farther away because it's cold. So that water is going to turn to ice. We need to find some sort of liquid water if we want to do that. New Horizons. This is what I think is cool. So in 2006, we sent this spacecraft out, New Horizons, right? In 2015, it finally got to Pluto. So it took 9 years for this spacecraft to get from Earth to Pluto, right? Pluto is somewhere out near the Kuiper Belt, but 9 years is a really long time. So somebody in 4th hour said, well, why don't we send manned missions out to some of these places? So if you think about it, if we want to send astronauts to Pluto, and it takes almost 10 years to get there, maybe we spend a year and then we come back, that's 21 years, see you later. Okay, we can't teleport, although that would be awesome.
Yeah.
If we can teleport.
We can teleport. Well,
Or
actually,
stop.
the government
Well, we
has
can send unmanned missions there and then send
yeah,
signals back, right?
It's
It's still going though, like it's
It
still
will
out there
kill
right
you.
now,
It will kill anyone.
sending
It's something
signals
that
back,
like rabbits and stuff.
telling us.
Like
some
we're,
stuff.
it will like
Okay.
it will matter over. But it will
We're gonna investigate a little bit next week what makes the
Like a ton
difference
of
between a new planet and
with a
a
rabbit.
regular planet. This one is the hodgepodge group, the mismatch group. There's the Oort cloud and then a couple of different comets. There's not really a set thing on how long it takes comets to orbit. Halley's Comet takes about 75 years. There's some comets that take over 1,000 years.
A big box.
This really isn't one, like if we were to get rid of a group, I think we'd get rid of this one. This is just some extra stuff. I wanted to talk a little bit about comets. These are totally a bunch of ice and dust, right? It's not really rocks. It's more just, hey, this is so far out, we've got some frozen stuff. Okay. For our purposes, we're going to talk a lot about inner planets and outer planets. right? So I called the 8 of those. They think that there's a 9th planet somewhere. We don't know where it is. We can feel the gravitational pull from it. We just haven't been able to find it yet. Okay? So that's something that is interesting too.
Is that called Planet X?
Planet X. Yeah, Planet X. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna play headbands. Have you guys done that before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, objects version of headbands. Okay. The first couple rounds, here's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna spend a couple minutes doing this. So they're in groups, right? If you've never played this before, what you do is you basically one side has objects on it, one side says solar system headbands. You're gonna actually put it on your head, right? But you're gonna have to guess. Okay. So I'm gonna basically try and guess. Right? I want you to ask the person questions. So my partners with Braden, I would ask them some questions. What I would probably do is that I would start going, I don't want you to go through and have your sheet and say, is it Mercury? Is it Venus? Is it Earth? Is it Mars? I want you to ask questions about characteristics. Okay? So I would say, I have no idea what this is. Is it rocky? I'm asking Braden. Hey, let me ask you this. Is it a planet? Is it a dwarf planet? Is it? No, this just got harder. Is it made of ice? No. You guys help. Is it made of ice?
Yeah.
Is it made of rock?
Yeah.
Is it one or multiple? Is it so it's made of rock? Is it the asteroid belt? Is it the Kuiper belt?
Yes.
And then I would move on to the next one. Okay?
Oh.
And then I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to put up 60 seconds at a time. And I want you to see, I think the record so far has been 8. And they were moving, and I'm pretty sure they were cheating. Right? Because they were like, and then they were like, you upload this to the, and then they were like, Port Cloud? They were like, yeah, keep going. But so they were cheating. It was Egan's spin. He was totally cheating because he wanted to get as many as he can. I think the most valid one has been 6, right? Where they go through and they go, okay? So it's not necessary. Yes, I want you both to have your sheets in front of you, okay? Some people are getting really specific, like, does it orbit in days, months, or years? Like sometimes they can be super specific. So we're gonna do a couple rounds where the person guessing asks questions, and then we'll probably do 2 rounds where the clue person just starts rambling them off, because that goes a lot faster. Okay, so what I want you to do is you'll be in mostly groups of 2. Okay. Nope, we're not gonna move seats. You guys are. Right? And then we'll rotate every 60 seconds, so I'll tell you when to start, when we're going to end. Is it like this partner? I don't care. Or you hate the least. 2. So we need to do 3. Yeah. Are we supposed to? I guess so. Wait, can I Wants to guess first. All right, so if you go ahead, make sure that these somewhat stay in order. You might go through them and then we'll just mix them up, but make sure like that they're all facing the same way. Mix them up. 60 seconds on. Don't start yet. Don't start yet.
Ready? Go.
Oh wait. All right, is the first person ready to go? Keep track of how many you get right in the 60 seconds. Ready? First. Go.
No, I can't.
We were not ready.
You started? No, I'm
You're done. Explain it. No. Yeah.
Orbit.
It's an inner planet.
You look at paper.
Be specific.
Well, this isn't really a game where you win, so I would say we should probably.
Alright, I'll play
It's
it.
more of just we're giving you. It's more just like.
I would like to play it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Teacher said not.
Well, since it's not really, it's more like a game.
Oh, it's not really like.
Yeah, so it's not really where we're gonna win or lose. It's more of just let's. So she's gonna do this, and then you gotta ask them questions. So is it rock? Is it yes? Is it rock orbit? Is it not?
Is it interplanet?
Oh, sorry, my meeting. We're back. Okay, so that's all right. It takes a while. Usually at the beginning we're not very good at this, but we'll get it. Okay. I think this sound.
Is it-
I'm embarrassed.
Usually when I'm file.
Yep, I get it. All right,
Is
so
this on?
60
Is this the right
seconds.
way?
On to the next person.
Is this upright way?
So there's not really a winner of this. We just want to see how many.
Alright.
Second person ready?
Is it rock or iron?
They're like all messed up.
Well, whose fault is that?
Yours?
All right, ready? Go.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Is it made of?
Is it
Or does it have to be yes or no? Whoever like the adult over there was.
You just said
Is it actually one?
I know, I'm not saying the internet.
Planets.
Is it made up of rock?
Yes.
I was in the door.
Yes.
Is it how many months? Years? Monkey money. Oh my god. Is this a planet?
Dude, you can't look at it.
Wow.
Okay, what is your?
Look at it.
Is it a planet?
Yeah, so
Uranus.
alright, go. Ask him.
Okay. I bet I would have gotten 5.
Okay.
All right, back to that same person, or the first person.
Well, we have 3.
Okay. All right, ready, go.
Take it.
No. Yes.
Is it interplanet?
Yes.
Is it a belt?
Is it Mars?
Is it an outer planet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it
No.
It's
Is it
Yes. No. Yes.
probably gas? Is it made up of temperature?
Yes.
Oh my God! Alright, go.
Was it Saturn?
Darn it.
Neptune.
I thought the Clipper Goblin now.
Alright, ready to go. We gotta do this.
Wait.
All right, so here's how we're gonna do it now. When you put it up, the person giving clues, so we're not asking questions anymore. All right? You're just gonna start giving them clues. You
Ooh.
cannot say stuff like Ben Cooper in second hour said, it rhymes with cars. That's not, we're practicing using some of the characteristics. So I would say something like, inner planet, it's really close to us, it's made of rock, whatever, and then
Rhymes.
when they struggle, say, so that's what we're gonna get. We're gonna try that. 60 seconds.
You can give me clues.
Ready? Go.
Go, 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 go.
Shooting star.
It's a cloud. Alright, go. It's an inner It's an outer planet. Oh, no, it's the sun. Yeah, be We got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh.
Alright, here we go again. Ready? No.
I don't even.
Oh, this one is. Oh, we got 10. Correction, 10.
No, we're not.
Go. Is part of the. Is it North Planet? I feel lucky. It's the North Planet. It's the North Planet. Yeah. Go again. We're almost out.
No.
Ow! We got out!
Also,
Hey, listen, so I'm gonna collect them, but as I'm walking around, almost every class period, I have to pick some off the ground. So look on the ground, look around you, okay? I need you to put them in a certain order, so listen, right? When I look at this, I want them all to be where, like, I see the names right side up, and this all says solar system headbands, okay? That makes it easier for when the next class goes through. So please take 20 seconds. Right?
Fourth hour didn't do it.
Right? Put the paperclip back on, I'm gonna come around and I'm gonna collect them, so you can just set them right there, okay? Group 6. So we're gonna do one last thing. Nope. Here you go. I'll come and collect them, just set them down. Alright, so here's how this is gonna go. And it's sort of confusing, but not if you listen to the directions. Okay? There are differences between the inner and outer planets. Right? What are some of the differences between the inner and outer planets? What's one? They're made of different stuff. Rocky and gas. Hey, what's another one? The orbits. They take different lengths of time. Which one takes longer, inner or outer? Outer. Okay, what else?
The heat's different.
Their heat, they're different because they're different proximities to the sun. Their sizes are different, right? There's a lot of different characteristics. Their patterns are different, all that kind of stuff, okay? So I'm going to give you this sheet right here. It's 2 paragraphs long.
Oh my god.
I know. Or I can give you the whole article, which is 2 pages.
Oh, no.
This one
I'll take the
okay.
single sheet.
This explains, I think that's what I would do too. This is 2 paragraphs about how when the solar system forms, they think that this happened, and that explains why there's differences in the inner and outer planets. Okay? There are 2 or 3 questions that are on Canvas. Okay? I did not want to print out another sheet of paper to hand it to you, So you're gonna write the answer to the questions that are on Canvas on the back of the handout that you just had, okay? So you're gonna need your Chromebook. So here's how this.
Don't we get out? What time do we get out?
Alright, so listen. You're gonna read this short article, it should take you just a couple of minutes,
Like 40
right? After you read the sheets, on Canvas are the questions, but you're gonna answer them on the back of this. Okay? This is a class thing, so if you don't get this done, it is not homework. I'm gonna have you finish it on Monday, but if it is done, then I'm gonna grade it over the weekend. Okay?
Oh, 6?
It is called SS Formation Analysis Questions. It's listed under assignments. Probably be one of the most recent ones, right? This is only a couple paragraphs. You can pick and choose the stuff from here, but it explains why the inner planets and outer planets are different. And then I want you to put this on the back of your sheet. So hey, we've got about like 9 minutes. If we're quiet, we'll totally get this done in less than that. Okay?
We gotta submit it on paper.
You're writing it on the back of our sheet.
Can I send it to you through email?
Is that where this information is?
No, but I'll send it to you through an email. Like, I have it in my
Write them on the back. Yeah,
I'm the
write them on the back.
Oh, I forgot my stuff here.
Yeah. Write that on the sheet. But you might want to do it. So if we don't get totally done, that's okay, all right? If you do get done, I'll take your sheet. If not, then hang on to it, we'll finish it on Monday. But I do want back your orange sheet, because I'm gonna have 7 down and use that as one. Okay, so on your way out, if you wanna make a pile of this orange sheet, you can do that. We'll finish this on Monday, you don't need to do it for homework.
Joe, I need my charge back. Hurry up, Joe, hurry up. Joe. Hurry up. Are you an angry person? I don't understand. Not nice.
So she said we could keep this. I had to turn this back in.
Wrong sheet.
Thanks, Older.